KRMB Office 5522, Rio, Saquarema City, Brazil, December 12, 2021. Things are coming to a definition. We will suggest to have the monitoring procedure during this period, December, but consider have the prison and the strike after the Christmas and the New Year's Day, because sometimes these people will be a long time, I would say, with no family, maybe in jail, and it will be something kind of health for them have this last contact maybe with the family, because they will be inside a prison. And inside the prison can be a federal prison America based on circumstance, but sometimes inside the international prison in an area with neutral jurisdiction, and they will be isolated for sure. We are having today a new, and we are having this conversation 2 hours maybe before the Asia open the market, especially the China, and we will have that cooperation to put things even worse maybe. So we will check that we have a concept on present time which points to VIA. In general, the idea is a contest, a challenge between players at the same scenario. We have this idea as the Michael Porter design of competitive and intelligence used for competitive advantage. But this advantage can't be linked with public areas or supported by public treasury, because indeed you are an element or an argument exposed at the covenant thing by the tax stimulus and other. And when we go this, we must consider review this acronym as value inside exchanges by monetary market, all central banks involved. We are just confirming this. By silence, considering conjunctural failure trending, -1, CAUSAL optimized, and a conjunctural failure as -1, associating all by silence, interval 2021, 2012-2021, Brazil, global events, geopolitical institution, public unit, integrated failure, association, by instrument as interface named budget, P2P scam with list storage and redistribution, extended field as interest, the electoral process by investment, donation, and fintech crimes being exposed. 2012 America, the interest is having the success at the electoral procedure by frauds hidden as something regular, which can be a donation, but without the proper origination as resource. Indeed, you are doing the integration by the electoral procedure as donation, and the replacement considering areas that got choked sometimes by police, made by governments, by players at the market, and your VIA is not fair. This leads to a monopoly, which is a causal consequence or a causal relation as consequence, which indeed is a trust. The trust is a few peers combining and sharing advantages that is suppressing little by little the opportunity and chance in many areas, in many fields. But this, as everything you do and everything you did and everything you are considered keep doing might be under monitoring procedure, especially at this December 21. We will check that the covenant thing indeed has two moments different, but as the same thing with a different level as events happening, which is the isolation and the breakdown, mostly very specific peers acting inside the segmentation as isolation or isolation period, and they receive tax stimulus, and the others players at the market do not have this, so they got an advantage or an economical empowerment from governments, which has a signature as transference. Which are them? Can you expose? Do you consider that this can be under the review by internal values, considering the CAUSAL as orientation or common business language, which allowed us to have the research as decisional tree based on this transaction with values, and this transaction pointing to signatures, which presents that values on the board as a chart combination, explicit area contract positive one as health or whatever, but indeed with internal value as transference of money from tax investment system as public investment system for specific periods inside the segment isolation during the breakdown. And then you will reopen the market with these guys having a storage, the others having only the decreasement or outcome to pay their, accomplishment and obligation. Considering a global company, you probably are creating a problem. We are talking about $1 billion during the isolation, and you must have the payment of your obligation during this period that the productive system is under a disruptive process. And do you consider that this is fair? And the side that we has on it is that the value as internal exchange, or the value inside an exchange operation which points to the internal gain, indeed is insider trading and goes very like this. This is your regular market, but this market had a disruptive event, which was the COVID-19 and the isolation. And we had a few or a group of players acting on it during the isolation. And of course that we are talking about transaction in global scale, as vaccines, as money to have the research, and all things you did, got observed and under monitoring procedure, especially associated by government, central banks, and led by the World Health Organization, United Nations. And we had the breakdown with very, very special players receiving the money. Breakdown period. It means that the internal gain inside the operation, which goes by all market, which was open, I would say market, and considering the event COVID-19 had a decreasement as capacity, which implies self-determination. Do you consider that this is an evidence? Positive 1. Yes. 0, 0. No. What do you think, criminal offender? Do you consider that this movement, as you can observe here, from this point to this point is this curve, which points to a logarithmic curve, even if we are not presenting as like the regular logarithmic curve, but which will be something like this. But if we consider the relation as debit and credit as crisis of the market, We will check that indeed this exists, projecting this point here to the other side. But we didn't have the productive system acting despite we had operations. Do you consider, and then we had the inflation, the hyperinflation, and the taxation and others. Do you consider that you projected this as the very beginning, as pandemic even, up to the current time, as an empty ball, which will push people to be, against the taxation and things that steal your property, even if you are a family by the saving account of your family or something like this, to support a scam ruled by government, which has a period on it, and they are unable to present the reasons that we expose as a regular citizen around the globe and globally speaking. Is this trending? Considering, for instance, the regular open market at the convenient thing, to the perception as corrosive argument, something like this. Do you consider that the trending as evaluation for criminal purpose in global scale, leading or led by big players at the market and the mainstream, are indeed under observation? And if the audit has no make decision process, only can expose this, is the silence of the authorities that has this make decision power part of the scam by blind eye association? We'll finish here December the 1st. Merry Christmas. 33 trillion charge, and there's no escape. Conditional paper, anti-crime budget, 3 bolts until 2028. International criminals inside. Crimes against this research as industrial project may be on a federal unit as prisoner unit America. Have a nice weekend.